Hello and welcome back. You're listening to Family Planet365. I'm your host, Malena Jackson, and we're here on AM 1220 KHTS. Today we're talking to, I was about to say the other name that was on the show. We're talking to Cheryl Fisk from Rise and Shine Preschool and Angie Serrano from Tutor Time Learning Center here in Santa Clarita. And before our break, we were getting into what types of preschools are available today. Now, one of the preschools that I've always been kind of curious about, but kind of afraid of and never really looked into was Montessori. So since I have Angie and Cheryl here, I'm going to ask them, what are the differences in preschools? Let's talk about Montessori, Angie. What is a Montessori education from what you know?
From what I know, now Montessori has changed obviously in the years. Mm-hmm. When I was in a Montessori setting, this was about 24 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So what I do know, and I remember, because it was a long time, it is a lot of individual choices. The children have the choice to play by themselves, and having the boundaries are definitely different from our type of setting. I know that the children are able to take out, let's say, a tray, and it has the fine motor skills. They really reinforce a lot of the fine motor skills. So it's different from the setting that we're at. So obviously Montessori has grown just the way child development in general has grown. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely different now.
Well, then how do you know which is the right structure for your child? Is that something you should just pay attention to? Because like I was sharing during the break, as a mom, I like a preschool that they can go in. I want them playing on the playground. I like them to do a lot of arts and crafts. I love for them to sing all day if they could. And just really just being engaged most of the day. Is that a certain type of learning environment? Is that what they call hands-on? Cheryl or Angie can answer. Cheryl?
It is definitely a hands-on, and I think most of our preschools are hands-on.
Okay.
Montessori, from what I understand, is hands-on, but I don't know that if they encourage. I think if a child wants to play by himself, it's okay to play by himself, and you can't interrupt him. Mm-hmm. But
you can't. What do you mean you can't interrupt him?
If another child wants to play, I think you have to ask the other child if it's okay if they come and play together, or if you want to move on and they're not ready to move on, I believe you need to let them stay at that activity until they are ready to leave that activity, to make the change. Oh. Whereas at our school, we have outside playtime, inside playtime. We have rules, and there are times when it's time to clean up and move on to the next activity. And so the children need to be aware of that it's time to clean up. Now we're going to move over to circle time, or circle time is over. Now we're going to move into snack. They can't.
So it's more like like an agenda.
Yes, we have a schedule, an agenda that we follow, and that prepares them for what's going to happen when they go to kindergarten and the real world. There are boundaries. There are rules. You have to follow those, and you have to learn to know when to do that.
Okay, I like that. So what I hear you saying then is Montessori is more fluid in a sense.
I think so, yes.
Versus the regular, well, I would say, I'm using the word hands-on. I think it's being overly used at this point. But when you talk about the traditional, I'll say traditional preschool, it's, okay, we have snack time at this time, circle time at this time. Versus Montessori is like, okay, well, if you want to just read that book today, then you're okay to do that all day?
That's what I understand.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never been in a Montessori setting.
Okay.
So that's my understanding. And again, that's okay.
It's according to preference.
Right.
But it's according to, some parents want their child to be able to do what they want to do.
That's interesting. See, now I want to know, what makes a mom or dad choose Montessori? Because I know a lot of families who are in Montessori preschools or Montessori schools, and I wonder what made them, make that decision. Because now talking to you, I didn't realize that's what it was.
Right.
I thought it was actually something totally opposite than what you're telling me. So that's good to know. I guess I need to do more research.
For example, I from my understanding, let's say there is building blocks.
Okay.
In our school setting, the children would be able to learn how to take turns. and the teacher will sit down with the children as they build the blocks, and will engage in open and ended questions, and will let the children discuss what they're building, and open their eyes to, just different, using their imagination. In my understanding, in a Montessori setting, they have their own individual play, and I believe that it's the encouraging to play together is not something that they do. Now, that is something that might have changed in the past, but I do know that a child in our type of setting, they're able to sit together, engage, play, and we want them to do that. We want them to socialize. We want them to learn how to communicate, because that's when we know about their communication skills, their verbal skills, and we know what we need to work on. And fine motor skills are extremely important. And, we take lots of observations at our school. So we want to continue to document so that at the end of the school year, together we sit down with our families twice a year, and we have conferences, and we have milestone mixers where we talk to our families about where their children are. So I think definitely that is a different setting for us. As far as Montessori, there is individual play. With us, definitely encourage the individual play, but we want them to engage play. We don't care for the parallel playing unless you're one.
Okay.
And then they're going to parallel play where they're kind of playing together, but they
not
look
really,
like
not so much.
but not really.
Yeah.
So it's we like engage.
Okay. So I'm getting clear on Montessori. Let's talk about home preschools. Now, those I've always been I've just heard so many not so good things about home preschools or daycare, so to speak. What are some things you should consider when you're looking at a home preschool? Cheryl.
Well, if you're looking at home preschool, you should definitely make sure that they're licensed.
Okay.
You should see how many teachers are in the setting as to how many children. Find out the ages of the children. Do they vary from infants through kindergarten? Is it just maybe 2 and 3 year olds? You should consider if they have playground, what kind of toys they have. Is there any learning going on? Are we free to come and go at any time? Sometimes do you have monitors that we can check? I would look at a lot of those things before I considered home daycare. Okay. One of the things that I like about our school is it's open policy. A parent can walk into we have a security gate, but you're welcome to visit our school anytime. You can call and talk to your child on the phone. We don't have cameras in the school, but it is an open policy for the parents to come and visit at any time. We only ask that you make sure your child is okay with that. We don't want you to upset them.
Oh, yeah, because the parents can get in the way. That's right. Yeah.
Right. Because if it's going to upset them and they think it's the end of the day, then we would rather you didn't come.
I like that because I remember when I had my preschooler, and I was talking to the teacher, and I was like, I'm going to come pick her up on Tuesday. We're going to pick her up early. And she's like, oh, don't say anything, because a lot of times when you say that, they won't nap, and because they don't understand the concept of time. And she's going to I can't take a nap, but you're coming at 3. You normally come at 4, so she needs a nap. So I like what you say, you got to be careful about just popping up, because it disrupts the normal day for the child, and it can be confusing, correct? Yes. Is that what, okay. Yes. Yeah, I like that. And, one of the things that happened to me recently on Facebook, I got this message from a mom, and she was like, I see that you're hosting the preschool fair. Do you background check the preschools that are exhibiting? And I was like, interesting. I hadn't thought about that. I said, no, why do you ask? And she was like, oh, because a lot of them have, what is it called when you have violated?
Violations.
You have violations.
Violations.
Yeah, a lot of them have violations. And I was like, okay. And I did some more research, because that's the journalist in me. And I realized that she has a pending lawsuit right now against a preschool. So one of the things I say is, when you go to these events, or even if you just go visit a preschool, make sure you do your own background
Right.
check or find out like if there are any violations, because the preschool is probably not going to tell you that, because I think in the state of California, they don't have to a certain extent. They don't have to share that information. So it's really up to the parent. You know, I'm not going to take the time to background check the preschools. And one of my response to her was, you know, after doing this for 3 years, I realized that there are certain preschools that stay away from this type of thing for whatever reason. So I've come to trust the exhibitors that we have in-house for the event. So she was like, okay, you know, she went away. But I thought that was interesting because I had not thought about checking to see what violations there are, unless it's in the news. And like if a child dies, you know about that. But other than that, you don't know.
Well, if you do have a violation, it has to be posted.
Correct. It has to be posted
Oh,
for a year.
posted where?
Yes.
For a year.
It has
the
to
school?
It has to be posted in the school, and it has to be visible in your main area. So if you have violations, they have to be posted.
Okay.
And something else that is, you should, you know, everyone should know is that every preschool here in Santa Clarita does have a licensed analyst under Department of Social Service, Title 22. So we do get visits from our licensed analysts that will come to our schools and, you know, do a walkthrough and make sure that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And we welcome that. We definitely welcome that because we want to make sure that we're doing something right. Everything that we're doing is right, you know, definitely. And violations are put up in the front office. And so, yeah, for your Facebook friend, yes, everyone here does have a licensed analyst, and we all have our background checks.
And
definitely.
Thank you.
And fingerprinting.
And fingerprints. Yeah, like
And
the fingerprints. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Family Planet 365 on AM 1220 KHTS. I'm your host, Malena Jackson, and today in the studio, we have Cheryl Fisk from Rise and Shine Preschool and Angie Serrano from Tutor Time Learning Center here in Santa Clarita, and they're telling us things that we should look for when we're looking for a preschool. Now, what I want to talk about is separation anxiety. How do we deal with the child who does not want to leave the parents for any reason? Or how do we deal with the mom who doesn't want to let the child go? Cheryl, you go first. What do we do about separation anxiety? What's that all about?
That's tough. That's hard. But it does happen. And I would like to say that most of the time it's the parents. They are more anxious, and the child feels that anxiety.
Feels that energy.
They know. We encourage parents, like Angie had said earlier, when they come for a tour, to bring the child, because this is the school that they could possibly be going to, and they need to get the feel for the school. If you decide to choose our school, please come back before they start.
Okay.
Come back and visit. Let them come and play for an hour, and you go to the grocery store. Go run an errand. The next time, maybe come for 2 hours. Ease them into it. If you know they're going to be having a hard time, ease them into it. But don't stay. The parent really needs to leave and let the teachers deal with it because they've had the experience. Some children only takes a minute. You're not even out the gate and they're already done crying. Some of them might take a little bit longer, and usually we walk with them. We'll encourage them to play. But definitely, if you know your child is going to have a hard time, take it slow. Take it easy. Let them come a couple times. Let them play for a little bit. Make it the first time an hour, the second time 2 hours, the next time 3 hours. If you have that luxury. Some parents
They're
don't.
like, no, you're going to start on Monday and you're going to be there from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That's like some parents.
That's hard. But if you can give them any kind of time to get adjusted and to get acquainted, it certainly does help.
What would you say about that, Angie, as far as separation anxiety?
I think part of part of our enrollment is to sit with the families and discuss. We want to know about your child before you walk in the door. So we have a questionnaire that we do together so that we know ahead of time, just certain questions as simple as, how does your child say they have to go potty? Do they say potty? Do they say pee-pee? So it's really important that we sit down with them and we have that first initial meeting. One of the things that I always say at the meeting is, on your first day when you drop off, say words like, see you later. Don't say goodbye because it's very definite. Use words like, mommy's going to go work and you're going to play with your friends and I'll be back. So the word goodbye is something that I always discourage my families to say.
Oh, because it's so definite.
It's so definite. Yeah. On the first day of school, we do what's called a wow call. So when you drop off, within the 2 hours, we'll be calling to let you know how your child is doing. Mm-hmm. We also have this app that's called Precious Status. Precious Status is, yes, all my teachers are equipped with iPads.
Is that the Tutor Time app?
That's a Tutor Time app.
Oh,
and what we do is during the day, the parents are going to be getting updates of their child throughout the day. Oh. So let's say it's nap time, when your child took a nap. You'd say it's lunchtime, what your child ate and how much they ate. We take pictures of the individual child playing. So that's a sense of comfort for that parent that is having anxiety when you're going to drop off because you are in school with your child and you're still working.
Yeah.
So one mommy once said to me, I'm going to get in trouble with this app.
Because she's always on it,
and
right?
I said, why? And she says, because I want to see everything that my kids are doing. And the thing, she has 3 of her children at our school. So could you imagine the updates that she's getting?
Her phone is probably buzzing like every 3.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, those are definitely things that we tell our families is use the word see you later. Use the word I'll be back. I tell families to play a game. Do you see what I see? Come in before, hold your child's hand, hold them, or if they're little, hug them and walk around the school and say, do you see the swing? I see the swing.
Do you see what I see?
Do you see the Legos? I see the Legos. So it gets the child excited. So we actually prop our families and get them ready as well. And I tell them, have a routine. Yeah. Develop a routine in the morning. Mm-hmm. I have a daddy. It's so funny. I have to tell this story. And if he's listening, I have this daddy that every day in the morning he has to pick up his daughter, give her a kiss, and do a high five before he leaves.
I love that.
And we've had his daughter since infants. She's now in pre-K. Wow. And he says, Miss Angie, this picking up of our child. And I said, well, it's something that works.
Yeah.
It's something that works. So develop some special high five, a bump, a thumbs up, so it's definitely important. Absolutely.
Because one of the things I had a rule. I don't care if I was late to get to work or whatever. I never rushed my drop off.
Absolutely.
That hurts my heart. Like you see parents just leave the kid, we were talking about separation anxiety. If we were able to twist it, it was like, take the time, like you said, the dad picks up the child and give the high five. And it only takes like an extra 3 minutes, but just to be complete, because I needed that for me. That's what helped me, because my kids were like, bye, see ya, why are you still here? Yeah. And I would be the one like, wow, they don't need me anymore. So I made it for me. I ensured that I would take that extra 3 minutes. Let's go to your cubby. Did we get your artwork from the day before? Oh, look at that hanging up. When did you do that? And it just helped me get complete and be able to leave and then come back later. And so I like that aspect. If you're a parent who deals with separation anxiety or thinking about, I don't want to drop my kid off, take some time to be there. But like you said, Cheryl, do leave. Don't stick around. Do leave.
The longer you stick around, the harder it is.
Okay.
And don't ever just leave.
Yeah.
Make sure you always, like you say, I'll see you later. Have a great day. Always say something, or do the high five or the thumbs up. Don't ever just disappear.
And I'd like to make one really important
point. Like when the baby's crying, or the kid is crying and you sneak off.
Right.
Oh, I've seen that done before. Okay, Angie, tell me about that. Okay, what?
That's what I was going to say. Don't sneak
I've seen that so many times.
Yeah, it's just not good.
Oh, now that you say that, it's not good.
It's not good to sneak out. Always say you're leaving. Always say I'll be back, because it creates an insecurity for the child. Mm-hmm. And they start to look around and, is mommy going to be there? Is daddy going to go? So it definitely never sneak out. Never sneak out.
Okay, so we have 3 good points. Okay, this is a pop quiz. The first point is to slowly transition your child into preschool. The second point is never leave right away. And the third point is never say goodbye. Say, I'll be back. I'll see you later. And on that note, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll wrap it up. I'll tell you how you can contact Cheryl and Angie. And I'll tell you what we have coming up next week. You're listening to Family Planet 365. More when we return. Hello and welcome back. You're listening to Family Planet 365 on AM 1220 KHTS. I'm your host, Malena Jackson. And today's show is brought to you by the Nanny Factory. Now, today we talked to Cheryl Fisk from Rise and Shine Preschool and Angie Serrano from Tutor Time Learning Center here in Santa Clarita. And before the break, we just talked about sort of like the do's and I won't say don'ts, but the things you should do and the things you might not want to do when you have a preschooler, especially when it comes to dealing with separation anxiety. And one of the things that Angie reminded us of was, don't sneak off. If the child is crying, don't sneak out. And Cheryl said, don't hang out. So if you are having issues with leaving the child, okay, you can hang out for a little bit, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, but then go someplace else and spy. But don't just hang out with their friends. It's a great tool anyway for when they become teenagers, because you're not going to want to hang out with their friends then, right? So Cheryl, to wrap us up, tell us a little bit about how we can get in touch with Rise and Shine if they want to schedule a tour.
We are located at 25222 Wiley Canyon Road. Mm-hmm. It's right behind the Vaughn's Grocery Store on Lyons. We've been there for 31 years. If you would like to schedule a tour, you may call us at 661-259-0407. And we'd love to give you a tour. We're very proud of our school.
Awesome. And how can we get in touch with you, Angie?
You can call me at 661-263-2655. We are located at 23041 New Hall Ranch Road. Mm-hmm. We are right behind Trader Joe's. So if you see Trader Joe's, that's where we are. And actually, I wanted to do a little invitation. I have an invitation. I know you guys can't see it here, but this is an invitation to enroll with us.
Oh, nice.
And it's a really cool invitation. And next week is actually Awesome Kids Week.
Oh, I didn't
So
know
we're
that.
inviting all our families in Santa Clarita to come and have a free trial. And we have different days set up. So let's say Monday is Masterpiece Monday.
Okay.
Thrilling Thursday, where everyone's going to come dressed up as superheroes. And Pajama Whamma Friday. So choose a day.
Pajama Whamma. I like that.
Pajama Whamma Friday. Choose a day.
Choose a
come
day.
and have a free trial with us next week. So for Awesome Kids Week.
Yeah, that's actually awesome. I like that idea.
awesome.
Very good
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
I like the Pajama Whamma.
Pajama Whamma.
Pajama Whamma.
Yes.
Okay, so that's Cheryl Fisk with Rise and Shine Preschool and Angie Serrano from Tutor Time Learning Center in Santa Clarita. And, one of the things we didn't talk about, well, we don't have a lot of time, but real quick, sicknesses and illnesses. Real quick, Cheryl, what's one way if your child is in preschool to ensure that they don't get sick all the time?
Well, make sure that they get their immunizations.
Okay.
That's very important. And make sure that they're taking maybe some vitamins and they get plenty of rest.
Okay.
And if your child does get sick, please consider the other children and keep them at home.
And call the Nanny Factory.
Yes, call the Nanny Factory or, take them to the doctor.
Yeah.
And make sure they're getting the right medicines and just really keep them home. When they first start preschool, they have to build up those immunities, so they might get sick a little bit more often, but they'll build up those immunities and they'll hardly ever miss school.
That's right.
But
Thank you.
if they are sick, keep them at home. That
them
will
at
help.
Okay, thank you, Cheryl. What are your tips? Angie?
Wash your hands.
Yes. Okay. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Teach the children how to cough in their arms.
My daughter, my 5-year-old just taught me that. I never knew
cough
that. I
into
used
their
to
arms.
cough.
Wash their
She told me
hands.
that, yeah.
And watch for signs in the morning. Watch to see how the child's feeling, because you'll always know ahead of time.
You'll know ahead of time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Always, but wash your hands.
Wash
number
your
one.
hands. I love one of the things that works for me. I always give them a bath at night. Like, you got to wash the germs off. That's the whole thing. So now my kid's like, hey, I went to school. I got to take a bath. So that's our time for today. Thank you so much, Cheryl and Angie, for being here. One of the things I want to talk about next week is planning for life and death. Yeah, it's as cool as it sounds. I know. You'll be here. Our show is every Friday at 11 a.m. on Family Planet 365. I'm your host, Malena Jackson. Thank you so much for being here. Bye for now.